There is a debate going on TikTok right now about school supplies.
I don't give a f*** about them school supplies. I am a single mom. I work hard for my
and y'all don't want your kids to share the nice stuff with the cheap stuff.
I don't care if those kids don't have the school supplies, then they go without.
I don't care what y'all say. My child ain't sharing no school supplies.
No one is ever asking the question we should actually be talking about.
You and that lady share a man. Why are you worried about sharing now?
You need to unpack that with a therapist.
Ooh, back to school season is here, and it sparked big debates between teachers and parents on TikTok. The question that everybody keeps arguing about is if school supplies should be personal or be communal. Many parents are struggling in this current economy and they're just downright broke, leaving many saying, I can't even afford the supplies for my kid. Why would I pay for yours? Meanwhile, teachers have entered the chat. Let's see what other people on TikTok are saying about communal supplies and if they agree.
Okay, so according to the comments under the video that I just saw, y'all not gonna like this take, but I'm not understanding why my baby's school supplies are their classroom supplies. Like, I'm a first-time mom. My baby's getting ready to start school for the first time in August. I went a little bit crazy with her school supplies. Went ahead and put her name on everything, labeled everything down, matching this and that. And I just saw a video where teachers are commenting saying that they're going to be removing labels from school supplies because apparently when you bring your kids' school supplies in, they either put them in a big container for everybody to use or they put them away and distribute them amongst the class when needed. I'm confused. I am a single mom. I work hard for my shit. So if my baby decides that she wants matching frozen everything, I'm going to buy that for her. And as fucked up as this is going to sound, I don't care that the school isn't giving you a budget to buy classroom supplies.
You're talking, it's not my problem.
The government not giving me a budget to buy school supplies. The same tax break I get, you get. This ain't just for the teachers. This is for the parents too. It's poor outside for everybody.
I already know this take gonna ruffle some feathers. A lot of people are struggling in this economy, and if she's a single parent, I don't even want to know how single parents are getting by right now, but I'm sure it's hard. I needed to get a little bit deeper to further understand what communal supplies looks like, because I'm more of a visual person.
Let me show you guys where all your supplies go when you buy kids' supplies. This is where your glue sticks go. It's to say Mary Beth needs a glue stick. So am I gonna go, Mary Beth, which one did your mom and dad bring for you? Oh, this one has your name on it, so you get this one. No, I'm not doing that. They just go in the bin, and the kids grab the one they want. Same with the pencils. You wrote your kids' names on these? Oh well, they're all going in the same bin.
Now that we can see what this looks like, the lady in the first video says she's not down with this. Now, what would you all do? Do you think that it's handy for the teachers to keep all of the supplies in one bin? Because it seems like they're doing it to be more productive during the school hours. You know, kids be losing stuff, they irresponsible, they be breaking stuff, they forget stuff at home. So I'm thinking that's why they do the community bin thing. Like, I've not been in school for some time. I'm 31. But I think I can see both sides here, because maybe you're buying the name brand products, more expensive stuff. Like maybe your child has a thing for a certain cartoon character or whatever, and you don't want that to go in the bin with all the other regular degulars. Okay. I think the idea of communal supplies is to be more helpful than hurtful.
Everybody's talking about school supplies and about labeling the stuff, and y'all don't want your kids to share the nice stuff with the cheap stuff. Number one, I'm not about to tell a teacher how to run their classroom. If they do community sharing, I'm going to respect that. And I also understand that there's parents who do not want to buy expensive name brand supplies for it to become a community sharing situation in the classroom, and their kids end up with the cheap stuff while you send the expensive stuff. I get it. So here's how I do it. I buy more affordable supplies, because in my schools, the teachers do community sharing. They're going to throw all of this into a basket, and the kids are just going to grab whatever. Then I go and buy more expensive, nicer supplies for my kids to use at home when they do their homework. My kids also have a pencil case in their book bag with their nice supplies that they picked out. I think with this method, everybody wins. The teacher gets what they need, and my kids still have the supplies that I want them to have and use. I'm not gonna sit here and label every single pencil, every single crayon, argue with a teacher about why my child should have what lesson is their classroom. Let the teachers run it as they see fit. Now, if you have a teacher that does honor individual supplies and tells you that it is okay to label this stuff, then go for it. But in my case, all of my kids' teachers do community supplies.
If I had kids, I don't have no kids, y'all. But if I had children of my own, I think I'd probably be more like this. And I want to be really honest with you guys. If I had kids and they was going to school, I'm giving the teacher whatever they need. Thank you, because you took them off my hands for X amount of time where I could go do whatever I needed to do, whether that's make money, have some alone time, do it. I don't know what parents do when they're not with their kids. You gonna get the world, baby girl. Because I think that teachers have it hard. They be watching people's kids and the kids be bad. Y'all, these kids nowadays are so bad. And if you're a teacher in the comments, please chime in. Let these people know how bad these kids are, because I only got to deal with them when I go to the grocery store, or if I'm going shopping or something. I see little babies, kids running around just... Or I go to a restaurant and the kids be all in the chair laid out. I remember one time I went to go pick up some food. Somebody had their child laid out across like 3 chairs in the waiting area. And I'm just looking at the parents like, you ain't gonna say nothing, huh? And this is the type of stuff that I just know the teachers, I just know they got it bad. Can't nobody say nothing to nobody's child. If you say something, it's, oh, well, why did you say that to my baby? Or nobody can correct yo baby. It's just too much. So for me, I'd be the parent like, yeah, you get whatever you need, sir, ma'am. And on top of that, my child better not be acting up in your class.
Oh, I finally got the school supply list, for my son when he needs school. Now, granted, I know some parents, some mamas really can't afford to get their kids, some stuff for back to school. So I'm reading the shit, right? I'm reading the list, and I get to the part where they're talking about 15 boxes of Kleenex.
15?
11 bottles of hand sanitizer. Look, baby, I work to get my son the stuff he needs, not to get other people's kids some stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot. Is that normal? Is that normal for all y'all parents out there? This amount of Kleenexes and hand sanitizers? That's wild.
Now, my thing is, the females that I do know that want to be Gorilla and Sexy Red and motherfucking JT all summer, now all I keep seeing is, I don't know what I'm going to do about school supplies. Baby, what you were yelling all summer? Get them, Glow. Go get Glow to go get you and take you to go get some stuff for your kids. You want to be stomping bitches in shell toes all summer? Then get it sexy. Get it sexy. Okay. Go tell Sexy Red to come get you and go get them babies some stuff for school.
Oh,
JT coming. JT coming. Okay, well, go tell JT to come pick you up and go get your kids some stuff for school. And if they do hear this or whatever, if JT, Glorilla, and Sexy Red was to come get y'all stuff, kids some stuff for school, I would be happy, for real. My thing is, y'all want to be city girls and all this shit awesome, and then time for school.
Wait. I'm in literal tears. I've been trying to hold it back. This lady is funny. Not the Glorilla stopping somebody in some shell toes.
My thing is, y'all want to be city girls and all this shit awesome, and then time for school to come, which come around the same time every year. Y'all ain't got no money to go get them kids some stuff. Hell no, I'm not buying it.
Really got me with the get 'em sexy and the stomping people in the shell toes. Y'all know she ain't lying. Y'all was singing that song all summer. But on a serious note, school comes at the same time every year. And it ain't no surprise. People was balling during the summer. They was doing all these lavish trips, spending all this imaginary money. Some of y'all was using Afterpay, Klarna, all of these options, right? Y'all was balling till you fall in the summertime, and now it's time for school season. And now y'all want to get stingy. Now y'all want to talk about daycare. Y'all want to talk about school supplies, all this stuff. Like, I'm not saying certain stuff isn't expensive, but I'm just saying, what else do y'all be doing? Now, I know some people in this economy, no matter what they do, they just can't seem to make it happen, and they barely scraping by. But it's a good majority of people that I be seeing. I feel like they prioritize a lot of nonsense, and then the one thing that they don't want to spend money on, say daycare or school supplies, whatever that thing is involving their child care or children, it's like, oh my gosh, this is where I draw the line. Wasn't you just doing hauls 2 months ago? You just racked up $1,000 bill, but you ain't talking about that. You talking about, oh, I got to spend this on my kid. It's like, I'm gonna be honest, you chose to have them kids. And when you have kids, you have to think about the fact that daycare, childcare, school supplies, hell, some of y'all trying to send your kids to college. There's a lot of things to think about when you have children. And if you can't afford to do all of those things, you might have to reconsider or try to make some more money in order to do that, because the money ain't gonna just fall out the sky. Money don't walk, you gotta go get it. So I don't know what a lot of people be doing, but they be acting shocked that they actually got to pay any sort of expense for their kids. And that's why I said I'm with her on that, because in the summertime, Cancun, wherever y'all was at, Florida. She didn't tell no lies there. We all know somebody that do the same thing every year. And this was before inflation got ridiculous. There was already people just, oh my God, I ain't making it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Every year. Then behind the scenes, they was doing crab boils.
As a former early childhood special education teacher, I agree that what you get for your kids should be only for your children and not have to be forced to be shared amongst other students. An unpopular opinion, I don't care if those kids don't have the school supplies, then they go without. Like, it's a tragedy that they have parents that don't provide for them, but why is it a teacher's responsibility or other parents' responsibility to supplement that?
That's a strong take right there. Let me hear the rest.
I've worked with families below the poverty line, and they always seem to have money for nails, hair, their car, and alcohol, but never money for their kids. And a lot of these kids don't know how to treat school supplies, and that's why people get cheap ones for classrooms, because they end up breaking them because parents don't parent their kids and teach them how to treat other people's things. Wouldn't you be upset if you bought your kids special back to school supplies and then the teacher takes their name off it and forces them to share it with other kids, and then other kids break it because they don't know how to treat materials? Like, no. And I don't care if you disagree with me. Get off my page. Be so for real.
Ooh, he gonna have people mad in the comments about that one. That was a strong take right there. Whew. In my opinion, that take comes off more like life ain't fair type of a take. And while that's very true, that life is not fair, I don't know. When it comes to kids, I'm like, I have a little bit leeway. I think for the parents that can help out, I think that's definitely a great thing to do. But I also can't really fault people for not wanting to help out or do something like that when it's not their child. I'm like, I have to be realistic. Like, if it's not their child, I can't expect that. A lot of kids don't know how to treat other people's stuff. I've went to school with people who didn't have no respect for other people's things, even when it was lent to them. Just disrespectful because they weren't being taught right at their home. So I'm like, but didn't he really kind of eat though with his statement? I mean, it's kind of harsh, but sometimes like the truth hurts. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. It still is the parent's responsibility to make sure that child is not going without the things they need to go to school and be successful. So, I don't know. I think this is one of those things that year after year, if you are a parent that is not prepared to send your kid to school with the appropriate school supplies, even as a child, over the years, your child will be able to see like, dang, I'm the one showing up to school without the school supplies. And I know that it's not happening on purpose for a lot of parents, but it still is happening to a lot of kids when they go to school. And it sucks to see everybody else there with their supplies and their parents have prepared. And I don't wish this to be anybody's kids, don't get me wrong. But some of these lessons are going to end up being learned by your kids, even if you didn't mean for it to be learned by them, that life is not fair. There are people that have and there are people that don't have. And it sucks to be one of those people who don't have, even as a child. But that is life. That's the honest truth about how life works. Everybody around you is not just flourishing and has things. I hope that if there are children that are showing up to school without the supplies, that they're still able to get it somehow, some way, even if that's like a school drive or something, because it's not the child's responsibility. That's just the truth.
There is a debate going on TikTok right now about school supplies. And the debate is that parents are being told, like, this is what you need on the school supply list. Parents go and buy those school supplies, and the teachers take the school supplies and then distribute. Everything goes in a communal bucket and it gets distributed to the class when they need it. When they need scissors, the scissors come out. When they need glue sticks, the glue sticks come out, etc. Now, this is being done for several reasons, according to teachers. 1, it's easier that way. 2, there are a lot of students who don't have money for school supplies. And also, this is how some schools just do it. And the thing that certain parents are hating the most is that they feel like they're footing the bill for another student to use their child's school supplies. As a parent, I could tell you that if I found out a student in my child's class didn't have money for school supplies, I would be buying that child's school supplies myself. So why would I care if all the crayons are going in the same bucket, all the glue sticks, and everybody has one? I remember when I was growing up, my parents noticed that my class didn't have a lot of things. I didn't go to school in a very privileged area. My parents were always the parents to help the teachers out, to get the classroom what they needed, because they were just like that. We didn't even have it like that, but they did it anyway. I was always taught, if somebody needs something, you give it to them, because it's just simply like the right thing to do. And it's the right thing to teach your children. No, they don't have to. Nobody has to give anybody anything.
Yeah.
But what a nice gesture when you see that somebody needs something else, that you help them with it if you can. And what's interesting about this whole argument where people don't want their kids possibly using rose art crayons when they brought Crayola is that your kid is not missing out on anything by not using the exact blue folder that you bought them or the exact glue stick. They still get to use those things, but just somebody else also gets to use them that wouldn't have normally gotten to use them. And some people might be mad at me for this thought, but I think that it's insanity that we are begrudging children. We are begrudging the fact that our kids go to school with other kids that do not have the same opportunities that our kids have, and we want to make sure that we do nothing about that. And it's not even like these parents don't want to help. They want to actively be harmful. They want to make sure that these students don't have access to these items by fighting teachers tooth and nail on this fact. I have little to no hope left for society, and this just puts it over the edge.
I think when you've grown up having to share and do certain things like that, when you get older and maybe even if you become a parent, you become one of those people that is like, okay, I don't mind sharing. Like we can all come together and make something happen. And even the thought of sharing with somebody else that's less fortunate, it probably doesn't bother you. Now, like I said, this is a life lesson that there are going to be people that have and there are going to be people that don't have. But I also do feel like if I'm a parent and I am able to help, what's the harm in helping? Like I'm not taking away from my kid if I can give a little extra. That's just my perspective though. But I think the people that are upset may be people who feel like they barely have it to begin with and they're trying to give to somebody else's kid and they're like, I can't afford to give to your kid. I can't even give to my kid. But then you might be that same person that's not even coming up with all the stuff for your kid in the first place, or you just sending your kid to school without supplies because there are parents that's going to send their kids there without supplies regardless. I remember seeing people like that when I went to school. They'd show up and they didn't have none of the stuff on the list. And when you're young, you don't really think about why. Like, you know, certain people aren't growing up how you are growing up. There's a lot of diversity in classrooms and you start realizing like how different your lives are from each other's when you're really young. So it can be an eye-opening experience, but I also felt like even when I was younger, I didn't want to see people showing up to class with no notebook, no paper, no pencil.
I'm so confused why every year is such an argument about like what school supplies to bring and what school supplies not to bring, and about community supplies and all that. I'm gonna give you my point of view from a teacher being in a room where parents bought stuff for everybody and parents didn't. Okay, so the parents who contributed to the whole classroom, their kid had personalized stuff. I didn't let anybody touch their kids' personalized stuff. Like one lady, she put names on her kids' notebooks. Those are her notebooks. Okay, now. The kids who parents say, oh, I'm only buying for my child, they were the first group of kids to run out of supplies and had to go use the community supplies.
Ooh, that was what I was saying.
The people who gave community supplies, they never ran out of supplies.
Yep.
It's always the ones who parents said, oh, no, I'm only buying them stuff who needed the most supplies.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the community parent is helping out you when you being selfish and you don't want to help out other kids. Like, I get it. Times is hard. Every single year, I spend almost close to $500 on my classroom. Okay? Let's just love each other. It's too much going on in the world. It's a pencil, okay? If you could buy an extra pack of pencils, just do that. Y'all turn this into an argument every single year, and I don't understand. It should not be teachers versus parents versus students every year. We're all supposed to be on the same team. So I'm like so confused.
It ends up seeming more like it's a reflection of the parent why some of these children act the way they act, like that selfish, like, oh, I'm not going to do for nobody else type of mentality. Probably because your parent is like that too. And you see a lot of children grow up like that. They just are selfish. But isn't it ironic that a lot of the teachers are saying, hey, the people who was giving extra, they're the ones helping out the ones that's being stingy.
So I teach 11th grade, so I don't really have like a horse in the whole classroom community supplies race. One thing I'm seeing online a lot is a lot of parents are really complaining about having to contribute to community supplies for their child's classroom. And I'm not seeing parents complain because they're experiencing like economic scarcity. I have had private offline conversations about that. that with like friends of mine who are like, oh my God, I'm like struggling to pay my bills and I have to buy like 30 fucking glue sticks. But what I'm seeing online is parents really seeming like they are hating the idea of that community supply, and they really, really want to drive home that they only provide for their child and their child gets these supplies. And I think it's a symptom of like our culture at large, of how like capitalistic and rugged individualistic we are. If it's like step on anyone you have to get to the top and provide for your own. But I think it's absolutely heartbreaking to think about the kids living that way with parents like that. Like I saw a video of a woman on here who had a Sharpie and was labeling every individual thing she got for her daughter, every pen, every pencil, and all the stuff was like pink, purple, super cute, super matchy. And I'm not even against kids having nice stuff. I think you want to spend like 4 times as much for the pretty one, go for it. But I think part of what makes having the pretty one or the cool one or the superhero one enjoyable for kids is because that item helps them build community. Because when they bring it into their classroom to show their peers and share with their peers, they can bond over that character, that color, that design, whatever. And so for you to put that onto your child, that it's like, no, this is yours and yours alone, you are robbing them of creating that community. And I think it's so evident that that thought isn't even on these people's radar, because it seems like, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, some of you all do not value kindness, sharing, or community within the culture of your household. I think that families and households have their own culture for sure. And I think that a lot of parents that are coming on here being like, well, if I get the good glue sticks for my kid, that should be for them. Y'all are telling on yourself. And it seems like your household is one where people don't help each other, and you do not teach your children to help people in need, or that we create value when we work together. Because let me tell you, governments come, governments rise, governments fall. All you have is community. And for children to be learning that you're stronger alone than you are with other people is so backwards to me.
It is a reflection of how we are in America, like very like, let's be for real. Americans, we can be very selfish, very me, greedy. And I'm saying that as a whole, because I've lived in other countries. We as a whole are like that. And in my opinion, it is a reflection of how a lot of people are brought up to have like this kind of cutthroat mentality, like always just look out for yourself. Nobody's going to look out for you type of a thing, which I think like that is the truth, because once you get out in this real world, that is the truth. Nobody is going to look out for you. But I also feel like when it comes to children and the values that you're putting in the children, when it comes to going to school and being a nice person and to be giving and to share and things like that, that's also very important too. Because I think while you can be ambitious and while you can want better for yourself, and while, yes, the world is cutthroat, you can raise your children to be loving, kind, and sharing, and still tell them like, hey, when you get out in this real world, it's hard out here. People will leave you out to dry in the real world. When it comes to like a child and like them having notebooks and having glue and stuff like that, do I think I need to be teaching you a lesson personally about, yeah, you're going to see somebody with this nice pen and you can't afford it, so like boo-hoo, bad, like too bad for you? I don't think that's something that if I can help a child, or if anybody can help a child in that position, if you're already having to give to the school, I don't think I need to teach you that lesson. There's other lessons that can be taught, like, hey, there are people that are kind. And the people that are being kind in a lot of these situations we're hearing here is the parents that are going out of their way to give more, or to give the stuff on the list that the teachers are asking for without any backlash and all the back and forth.
I don't give a fuck about them damn school supplies. As long as I just get what they need, call it a day, and I just get exactly what they need. No extra shit, nothing like that. And you know what I do? I don't send them with everything at the same time. So if they asking me for like 10 freaking notebooks and they only got like 4 classes, why am I going to send them with 10 fucking notebooks to school? No. What I do is I wait. I send them 1 notebook for each fucking class, and then as the days go by, and if they need something else for that class individually for each one of my kids, then I'll go ahead and send them with more stuff, and I'll just have it there in the house just in case. But you know damn well. And then their pencil case, so they're going to have their own pencils, about 2 or 3 pencils in their pencil case, not the whole pack of freaking pencils. And then they're going to have 1 eraser in their pencil case, or whatever the case may be, just for them. I have 4 kids. 3 of them are in public school. 1 is going to pre-K now in September. I live in Jersey, so they start school in September. I know a lot of people are going to start now in August. And I already bought my shit. $139 in Staples for all 3 of the damn kids. It's like 35 cents per notebook. Stock up on them shits. Put them in your closet. Save them up. And I still have some notebooks that I saved from last year. They're going to use them shits. Listen here. Well, all these taxes that we freaking pay, America no tiene a nosotros chupadito de tanto trabajar, tanto joder, de tanta vaina. We shouldn't be having to pay.
Somebody translate. No habla español. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, but does that even count? If you don't use it, you lose it. Y'all know that.
The government should be supplying all the damn school supplies. Not the teachers, not nobody, the government. I'm fucking done. Like, all I want, I wish I was just rich. I just want to be freaking rich and move to fucking Dominican Republic. That's what I want. With fucking US dollars, what I make here. Pa que tú veas. Porque estoy harta. La mierda. You living in fucking stress and all this shit. Buy what you can. We be having money to go drink and having money to do all this other shit. Gonna be no excuse to try to buy your kids at least the necessary for the school supplies, at least what they need for each class, because they even have like in churches and communities where they'll give you free supplies as well, free school supplies.
That's true. That's true.
Just do what you can. Do what you can, because I know it's hard out here. And we all trying to make it out here, and I'm fucking tired.
Oh, man.
I'm fucking tired. I buy them what I can, send them with what I can, with what they have, and call it a day. Anything extra, I don't give a damn.
Video. I don't understand what she was saying in Spanish, but I think she was mad about the school supplies.
Every school year, parents and teachers will come on this app and argue about the same communal school supplies list. Parents are griping at teachers because they think they're asking for too much and don't think they should have to contribute to a communal school supplies bucket. Teachers get frustrated with parents and spend the entire time explaining how communal school supplies actually work, but no one is ever asking the question we should actually be talking about. And that question is, why are we not getting mad at our schools for not buying the school supplies our kids need to do the work that they're required to do at school? Why is there a deflection of responsibility of buying these supplies that starts at the school district level and gets passed down from principal to teacher to parent? And the two parties involved that really don't have any business buying that much school supplies at one time or have the money to do so end up fighting with each other about whose responsibility it is to buy the supplies for our kids.
You know what this remind me of? The debate about tipping culture. People don't get mad at the employer. They get mad at the customer for not tipping. The waitress will get mad at the customer if they don't tip. But the employer is the one that is making it hard for both of these people. It's the same thing with the school systems. So you got the worker, which is the teacher, mad at the customer. Let's say the customer is the parents about buying a product or not buying a product. Meanwhile, the person at the top, school system or the boss, is just watching y'all argue about it and not doing nothing. I've heard a lot of people's schools have erased this concept completely because there's a lot of back and forth, which I think that's really good and productive. They see that this is an issue and they're nipping it into bud. So maybe instead of people getting on the app complaining, maybe they can go to their school districts, to these meetings, go to the PTO meetings. I don't know wherever y'all go to have these meetings about how stuff is ran for the school systems, and go there and say, hey, we want to see some change when it comes to this. This is an ongoing issue every year, and we think that it should not be our responsibility. But I tell you where it's not going to change. Y'all going on TikTok and these apps complaining, y'all are in the wrong spot. You need to be at the district, like you need to be in the school system participating with the change. That's how change happens in your school system, because it's going to be different all throughout the United States. I don't care how viral your video went. You need to be talking to the people in your area.
Irony is these two parties, teacher and parent, are the parties that care the most about our children. Has your school district recently built a new football stadium? Have you ever sat down and done the math on how many years your school district could have provided every elementary school in your district with school supplies with the same amount of money they spent on that football stadium? Oh, and y'all don't even want to hear me talk about the fact that 50% of y'all are voting for people that want to take away federal funding that helps school campuses actually buy these supplies. Have you ever thought about the fact that this is also a public school problem? Private school parents and teachers aren't arguing with each other about school supplies because the school is providing those things for their students. We're all for spending money on communal supplies as long as it's something that is publicly acknowledged. We're okay with spending money on communal musical instruments for the marching band. We're okay with spending money on communal football uniforms. But for some reason, when it comes to the absolute basics like pencils and paper and scissors and glue, none of us are expecting our schools
or our state boards of education to take care of that for our kids? Why is that? And schools know they never even have to fight for something like that because teachers will never push back on not getting school supplies purchased for their kids. Some campus principals provide school supplies for their teachers. But if you're getting a communal supply list from your teacher, that means their campus does not provide anything for them. No surplus of any kind. Which also means that anything that your kid is not bringing, that teacher has to buy out of their own pocket. So somebody's going to have to pay. It's either you or the teacher, who probably both make about the same amount of money. So you're okay with making your teacher, instead of buying 6 glue sticks, which is what's on your school supply list, you're okay with your teacher having to buy 20 times that, right? I don't want this video to necessarily end up coming down on the parents hard, but I just want y'all to think about some of these things. Also, my final thoughts on this are that parents that come on this app complaining about school supplies are not genuine in their complaints. Because a parent that can actually not afford to buy their kids school supplies is not going to go on the internet and tell everyone about it. You're not going to want to tell anybody about that. Every parent that you've ever seen on this app complain about school supplies being communal can absolutely afford the school supplies on that list. It's not about the money. It's about the fact that they're upset that they have to buy for other kids. But just remember, if you're a parent that's upset with the school supply list that you're getting because it's communal, understand that the only reason it's communal is because your school refused to help your teacher buy those school supplies for her classroom. And they're
Man, man, it's a lot. It's a lot in this one. But did she lie?
There is no reason for either one of you to be mad at each other. You need to be mad at your school.
I don't care what y'all say. My child ain't sharing no damn school supplies. You and that lady sharing, man. Why are you worried about sharing now? And also,
whoa. How do we get affairs and cheating into the school? Boy, I'm telling y'all will link anything.
And also, 1 out of 5 Americans cannot read. 21% of the population, so a little bit over that.
Whoa.
Your teachers are getting on here and saying that y'all's 10th graders are reading at a 1st grade reading level. There are bigger fish to fry than to be worried about your kid sharing some crayons. And my thing is, too, when you send your child to school, you are sending your child with somebody that is taking care of them for 8 hours a day. Why wouldn't you want to make sure they have everything that they need to be successful? Then if the teacher tells y'all, oh, can you look over the homework? Oh, I just don't feel like doing that. Can you read with your kid for 20 minutes a day? I ain't got time for that. What do you have time for to ensure that your child can be successful through their K through 12 experience? What will you do? And my thing is, even if your child does not go to college and they go into a trade, they have to learn how to read or know how to read in order to take that trade exam to get certified in that trade. So there are skills that your kid is learning in school. Also, y'all be sending y'all's kids to school sick as heck all the time. So who do you think is using that tissue and that hand sanitizer when you're sending your kid to school because you don't have a babysitter for them and you look at your kids' teachers as glorified babysitters? Let's be so for real when we talk about communal supplies. It really is not that serious. If your child does not want to share and you don't want your child to share, talk with the teacher. Don't talk to us on TikTok because we don't care.
And that's what I was just saying. Y'all are talking to the wrong people. Y'all need to be at the school board raising hell. That's where you need to be, because that's where the change is going to happen. It ain't going to happen on TikTok. I mean, you might get monetized and get some views because you went viral or something like that, but that's besides the point. You want some real change, you know where you really need to go. And I didn't know about the reading level thing. I need to fact check that. That's crazy if that's true. The kids don't know how to read in high school or 10th grade. It actually would explain a lot, to be honest. A lot of people aren't really good with research. I don't understand how people can work TikTok and they can't work Google. They'll get in the comment sections asking questions on things, and it's a Google search away. So I just don't understand. But
meanwhile, the current discussion is about not sharing school supplies.
First off, her ring is blinding me.
I'm going to share some things from the perspective of a current education consultant who travels across the country and sees different types of schools, different types of settings. Okay. From the perspective of a former teacher, full-time professionally certified teacher who's been on the requesting side of supplies, and as a parent who will have to open her wallet for 2 kids, 14 and 5. One parent in specific that was talking about my hard-earned money, my hard-earned money, my hard-earned money. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out if parents don't realize that if you had your child full time, you wouldn't be able to make your hard-earned money, especially in this country where it's hard for you to take off if your kid gets sick.
It's annoying when the children have days off because teachers have in-service days, etc. Parents are trying as hard as they can to keep their kids in school so that they can have time to relax, so that they can go to work. Even if parents don't work, this country does so little to support a mother once a child is born that some parents aren't mentally capable of watching their children full-time 24/7 day in day out for 365 days in the year. So if you can't spare a little extra money to make sure that everyone in your child's class has crayons, please understand that if you were to remove your child from that school, you would not be able to hold a full-time job unless you was paying somebody way more than 10 packs of crayons would cost to watch your child. And then what if your child is in the super high level or the super low level? Because most schools, on average, are just trying to show improvement for the school so they can stay out of hot water. Okay, I'm going through the part right now where I'm trying to offer my consulting services to schools, and they go things like, oh, well, it's okay, it's fine, it's da-da-da-da, they're making improvement, when there are whole kids out there that are grade levels behind. Okay, so if your teacher noticed your child was behind and said, well, my job is to teach the middle, my job is to teach the whole class. If your child don't get it, and I have, more than 50% of my students growing, then too bad. Is that what you want to be the norm? Because if you want to come up and talk about, well, my child, this is what I'm doing, this is all I need to do, and you won't consider the fact that at some point in time, a teacher may have to dedicate time outside of her teaching block to host your child and make sure that they can read the sentence, that they can grasp the concept, that they can finish makeup work. All these things, like, I think a couple of crayon boxes is worth that exchange.
I think she said the part out loud that was supposed to be the secret is that, yes, a lot of parents do see teachers as glorified babysitters. And the kids is disrespectful. Just not all of them, but a good amount of them. The parents be ready to do whatever it is they got to do. And yeah, there is a privilege of being able to send your child to school and do whatever it is that you need to do. We don't know what a lot of parents are doing. Some people's parents ain't they at home doing a bunch of nothing. And then when their kids get home, they don't even want to help the kids go over their homework. If they don't want to read their syllabus or their agenda or just nothing with the kid, they just ready for them to go back to school. Let's be for real. I knew of people that I was growing up with, as soon as school season was back, like the parents was about to have a whole party, like they were just ready for the kids to be out the house, stop being loud so they can go to sleep or whatever it is they doing. Or maybe they needed to go to work, but nonetheless, watching after the child, making sure the child ain't eating up all the food, making sure they ain't running up the electricity bill, making sure they ain't outside getting some injury or like whatever kids getting into, they don't have to worry about it when they're at school. The teachers, the principal, the administration is watching the child. And I'm be totally honest, I would probably, if I was a parent, be looking forward to that time too, because it would probably be some of my alone time I could get in order to get things done or to work or whatever, to make money, whatever. Which is why I would be grateful for teachers, because without those glorified babysitters, aka teachers, that a lot of people mistreat, including some of y'all kids, y'all wouldn't be able to go out in the workforce and work. If a lot of parents had to teach their kids, that would not be a thing. They wouldn't even do it. Probably going on strike trying to get the teachers back. Y'all do remember in 2019 when everybody was getting the you know what? A lot of students were being taught at home and the parents were going crazy. They was ready to get them kids out the house. They was tired of seeing them. They weren't getting their breaks. Some of them still had to work and the kids were driving them up the wall. And when the schools opened back up and things like that started getting back to normal, the parents started feeling relief. So that's the thing that gets me about this whole conversation, is because I think a lot of people have forgot that wasn't that long ago that you were stuck with your kids and you had no choice but to be there and be active, and you didn't really like doing it when you had to. And now you got the opportunity back, and some of these parents, they complaining about getting y'all crayons. They like, what do you mean? I think it's a fair trade. I'm like, what do you need, Miss Johnson? Whatever you need, you gonna get it. And then some.
Moms of school-age children, are you okay?
No.
Do you need a moment?
They not.
The reason I asked this is because y'all are tripping. Yes, yep, you heard me, tripping. Because all up and down my For You page are moms complaining about the cost of school supplies or that they're asking for too much. Are you being serious right now?
They serious.
The school supplies aren't for 2 weeks. They're not for a month. They're not for 3 months. They're for 9 months. Maybe a little bit more.
They take care of our kids for 9 months.
Whew.
And if your child is in a public school system, you don't pay for them to go to school. So they're taking care of our kids for free. Now, as somebody who had to pay for childcare during the summer for my son, I know that childcare is not cheap. Even at the big age of 11, it still was not cheap. So I cannot wait for school to start. I cannot wait. And to hear you guys complaining about what? Maybe $100 worth of school supplies? Maybe? Okay, some of you are paying $150, maybe $200. $200 spread out over 10 months. Be fucking for real.
Yeah.
This is actually crazy. And as somebody who is uniquely qualified to speak on this, because my best friend is a teacher, my grandma was a teacher.
Mine too.
And where was I last year? Helping my friend set up for school while she was not being paid. Helping my grandma as a child set up for school while she was not being paid. Every extra school supply that they have to provide comes out of their pocket. And we already know teachers are not being paid enough.
Yeah,
so come on, be fucking for real. At this point, my son's teacher could ask me for anything, and I would gladly buy it for them because they take care of my child. When I'm at work, when I need to sleep, they are taking care of my child. Hell, sometimes they see my child more than I do. And you guys are complaining about $100 to $200 worth of school supplies?
Yep.
And please don't start, oh, you must have money. No, I have been a broke mom. Shit, I'm a broke mom right now. And guess what? I'm going to save up that $20 each month to buy $200 worth of school supplies. And I promise you, if I do not have the money saved up, guess what I'm about to do? I'm about to afterpay that shit. I'm about to affirm that shit. I'm about to credit card that shit. Be serious. Because we're real quick to put a Shein order. We're real quick to put a Fashion Nova order on Afterpay. But when it comes to our kids' school supplies, no, that's just too much. I know you guys have put in a $100 Amazon order. I know you guys have put in a $100 Shein order. I know you have put in a $100 Fashion Nova order. Come on. Come on.
I'm not gonna lie, she had me until she mentioned the Afterpay, the Klarna. Y'all know I can't stand the Klarna Afterpay people. Look, she said if she gotta do it, she gonna do it. But I just am like, find another way, like pick up a shift or something. I don't know. But she didn't lie. People will definitely find a way to do the Fashion Nova, to do the Amazon. I just seen somebody complaining today that they had to pay something school related for their kid. They just was on their page doing a haul. How you complaining and you just did a haul for some unnecessary products, and then they had the nerve to do a Crocs flip-flop haul. I just was like, what? And then you go on their page, they just went on vacation. But you draw the line at your school supplies. Like, I just don't understand that. Because do y'all know that we can see the rest of your profile where you just doing all this other stuff, wasting money that we can see you're wasting? Oh, watch me do this haul. And then got the nerve to get on these apps talking about, oh, I'm so broke. They need to figure something out. They need to yeah, she's right. That lady is absolutely right. They'll find a way to do everything else except take care of the expense that comes with your kid going to school or anything related that they like. You gonna see them band together in the comments. Yeah, say that again. Yeah, tell it. And I'm not even saying that certain things can't change for the better, because I do think, yeah, talk to the school system if you want to see some change. But I also feel like if you know the change has not come and you still doing all this unnecessary stuff in other areas of your life, and then you got the nerve to get online complaining about, oh, I gotta buy school supplies. Like, I just kind of feel like we supposed to take you serious when we can see the rest of your account, where we can see your social medias where you just doing hauls. You buying Stanley cups, or what are they called? Tumbler cups. What I don't like. People just be getting into all sorts of stuff, and then you want me to feel bad. And you got all these other collections and all this other stuff you into, talking about buying Jordans and all this weird stuff. It's just really annoying.
Here is my opinion on the shared supply discourse. This is my opinion. This is just how I feel about it.
Okay.
This is my daughter's first year in kindergarten. I will be labeling all my baby stuff. I shall. And not that I have an issue with her sharing. Sharing is not the problem. One, I'm definitely the type of parent that wants to support the teacher in the best way possible. And the teacher gives me a list. I'm going to buy everything on that list, probably plus some. Okay. So that students who parents aren't in the same position that I am don't feel left out. And I'm willing to help in whatever way that I can.
Okay.
And this is why I'm going to label my daughter's things personally, because there are some children who do not know how to share properly, right? And if my daughter does share her stuff with you, when it's time to give it back and she says that she wants her crayon case back or her pencil case back or whatever it is or whatever is hers, and she decides she wants it returned to her, I don't want there to be any conversation about, well, no, this one's not yours, this one is actually mine, because some kids do lie, because some kids do not come from a home where their parents are able to afford to give them whatever they want. So when it comes time for my child to get her things back, I don't want there to be any confusion on who it belongs to. So I'm just trying to alleviate any confusion in the matter, because my daughter is very nice and I don't want it to be like, no, this is mine, because you're not finna lie. You're not finna lie. And same thing goes for my child. Your things are labeled, so no, this is not yours.
Okay.
And for me, it's really that simple. It's not about sharing or not sharing. I want my children to share. However, I also teach my children that they don't always have to share. And I think more parents should teach that to their children, right? Because especially if a child comes to class and maybe the children have like a shit ton of like siblings and they're always have to share. And it's just like, damn, today I really don't want to have to share. Like, sharing is not a requirement. Like, you do not always have to share everything in life. And I'm teaching my daughters that now, that yes, it is very nice to share, but if you don't want to, you do not have to. Okay. There are situations where sharing is going to be required, but for you and your personal belongings, no one is entitled to it. And that is just my personal opinion. Okay, so y'all don't have to chew my head off. Like, I'm not against my kids sharing, but if my kids say to give her stuff back, give her stuff back. And there will be no lying and saying it's yours because mama already labeled it or found a way to make it identifiable.
She didn't even come off to me like she didn't want to share. It just was like, hey, maybe she's talking about like the little crayon boxes and stuff. She want to put her child's name on the front. I don't see nothing wrong with that personally, because I don't think that they put all of those things in those bins, in the communal bins. I think it's more like pens, maybe some glue sticks, highlighters, stuff like that. I think that's the stuff that's going in those bins. Maybe some notebooks here and there. To me, those sort of things is like sharing your child's book bag. It's like, no, you get your own child, they book bag. My child gonna have they book bag. And then maybe we come together on other things like the little stuff that like pencil sharpeners and stuff like that for the classroom. But it is also true that you don't have to share all the time. I think it's good that she's teaching her child that also, because some people ain't worth sharing with. But then that also raises the question of like, hey, what is your encounter at school with certain people that you may not want to share? Because you're going to start developing those like critical thinking skills when you're a little bit younger. Like, hey, I don't like sharing with this person because they're mean to me. I'll share with Lisa over there though, because Lisa's nice. She's a nice person. I'm a nice person. We're nice to each other, but I don't want to share with Jimmy. Jimmy's mean. Jimmy, when he see me at the playground, he keep pushing me and he keep throwing rocks at me and he pushed me off the swing. Certain things like that, because a lot of times it's not that the child just is not a kind person or doesn't have those traits of working as a team with other people. It's just some people they don't like. Hell, a lot of us adults, there's people we don't like, but you know, if you have to, we'll get it done.
And if nobody else told y'all, y'all real annoying for writing them kids' names on that school supplies. Y'all pull this stunt every single year. We all know what it is by now. You get the generic school supply list. You get all the supplies that the teacher needs to be a better teacher and to help all the kids in the classroom.
Okay.
If you are that hung-o on putting your kid's name on the stuff, knowing that she's going to divvy it out, can you at least buy extra? Because you're just making her job difficult. It's not that serious. I promise. Me personally, I'm just going to go ahead and buy extra. I'm not writing our name on nothing. I'm handing it all to the teacher. And then in the middle of the school year, I'm going to ask, do you need anything else? Because, baby, I need my kids to be successful. In order to do that, they need to have a de-stressed teacher.
Are you sick of just having to supply your kids' classroom with school supplies? Are you so sick of the communal school supplies? Like, why are the supplies you're sending in for your child being given to the whole effing classroom when that's your hard-earned money that purchased those supplies? Therefore, they should only go to your kid. Awesome. I have words. Stick around. I don't believe in any of that bullshit. It is a known fact that teachers are not getting paid an appropriate wage. It is a known fact that on top of that, teachers are supplying their effing classrooms out of their effing pockets. Their hard-earned money that they don't get enough of is helping buy school supplies for your kid in that classroom, whether you bought them school supplies or not. You could have sent them in with a fuck ton of glue sticks, pencils, and paper, and your kid may have fucking eaten that glue, broken every pencil, and ripped up all the paper. And guess what? They need more. And guess who's gonna supply it? Not you. It's gonna be the teachers, isn't it? The point of communal supplies is so that everybody in the classroom gets to use those supplies. And also because you can't trust a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, whatever age, to hold that many glue sticks and that many fucking pencils in their desk and them not fucking break it or them not fucking lose it. I know none of you actually trust your kids to hold on to that shit. There's no fucking way. If we're not contributing to communal supplies, if what you're purchasing for your kid is not going to communal supplies, that singles out children whose parents cannot afford to get those supplies. And I've seen the argument where people say, I'm not contributing to the community of supplies because it's so expensive for me, I can't fully afford all of that shit. You're the person these supplies need to be given to. You're the person included in the benefits of these supplies. Like, the point of this is so that people that can't afford to be able to get those supplies for their kids, it's so those kids still get those supplies. It's so that every kid in the classroom gets supplies. It's so that the village that so many of you desperately fucking want and desperately fucking complain about, it's so you can be the village. It's so you can be the community. Y'all want to live in this community where you can fucking benefit from all of these things, but you don't want to contribute to it so other people can benefit from it. And it's so weird to live in a community and have your kids go to a school with other children where, like, you're okay with your kids seeing kids singled out. You're okay with your kids seeing you not contribute to help out their friends and to help out their peers. Why would they want to help out their friends or their peers if their parents, who should be modeling good behavior, if they're not even going to take part in that? Your kids are still benefiting from the communal supplies. Your kids are benefiting from that. Your kids are benefiting from the community being built in your classroom. What weird behavior to be so against that? What weird behavior to be so against helping other children? What weird behavior to be against helping your fucking neighbor? Because these people live in your neighborhood. These are your local people. These are your community. This is your community. And I get it. I don't like a huge majority of the people in my fucking neighborhood. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't contribute class supplies, and that doesn't mean I wouldn't contribute to a food drive to help the people in the community, because whether I like them or not, we exist together. We coexist together. And you can't expect people to care about you, or people to care about your children, or people to care about anything going on in the neighborhood if nobody gives a shit. If nobody is helping. Again, so many of you want a village. So many of you want help, and this is a part of that. It's not just babysitting your kids so you can go to work. It's not just somebody dropping off food because you're tired. It's literally shit down to this detail. You live in a community. I just couldn't imagine being somebody that was hell-bent on making sure that nobody else in the classroom got to experience having fucking school supplies. If you really want a kid to have to sit at their desk and while arts and crafts is going on, or while literally anything to do with a pencil is going on, you don't want them to be able to do anything?
Yeah, no.
Could you imagine feeling singled out like that? Could you imagine that shit? And if that was you, or if you've felt singled out like that, and your first thought is other people should have to deal with that because I dealt with it and I'm fine. You're not fine. You need to unpack that with a fucking therapist. This is weird ass individualistic behavior. Y'all want to reap the benefits of a community, but you don't want to work within the community. I fucking can't, you guys. Grow up. Fucking grow up.
I think I got goosebumps listening to that last one. But she ain't telling no lies. Like, nothing she said, in my opinion, was not true. Not one word of it. Whose responsibility do you think it should be to provide these supplies? Should it be the government, the school system, the teachers, the parents? We know it shouldn't be the kids. Do you agree with the idea of communal supplies? Do you think that this is more of a positive thing more than a negative? Or do you think that people online have just gone crazy and are blowing this way out of proportion? Nonetheless, I hope that all the parents out there have budgeted in order to make sure that they can send their children to school with the appropriate school supplies so they don't feel singled out. And so they're not stressed as parents trying to figure out how they're going to come up with all of this money in order to buy their kids school supplies. Because as we discussed earlier, school comes at the same time every year, so this isn't nothing new. So we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.